Okay, hey everybody, I am just heading down to Kalaupapa right now. It's been raining a lot this morning, and yeah, it's going to be a fun, interesting adventure for the next 3 weeks. This is what the trail looks like heading down. It's really muddy, like I said, it's been raining, so everything's going to be really drippy. But this trail is kind of fun. I've walked it before, and there are a lot of guavas, so I'm definitely going to keep an eye out for some guavas just for a little snack. But last night I spent the night at my friend's place, and she was very accommodating, so that was really wonderful. And there are just a lot of really nice people on this island that are just willing to help people like myself out. But yeah, it's really drippy. Like you can hear the birds. You can hear birds. You can hear like the rain dripping through. It's very wet. I'm walking on the mule trail, so I'm hoping that there are no mules today. It's Monday. They may already be well ahead of me, but mules are not fun to be hiking after or before or anything, because you end up running into all this weird stuff, like really big puddles, or like this, or just mule poop, and it's not that fun. See, like mule tracks, so it's really slippery. And when you're like also carrying a heavy pack, it makes it a little bit harder to maintain your footing. But yeah, I loaded up on groceries this morning, so should be good for about a week. My friend Janine gave me some rice and some dried fruit and oats, so that's very nice. Yeah, so here's the trail. Some more of it. It's just totally covered in traces of mules. And I think we're walking through Formosan koa, which is not a native. It looks like koa, like the native species that's here, but yeah, walking stick. So I have a walking stick that is supposed to help with like gauging distances and stability, since I have a heavy pack. But this is gonna be so fun. I'm really excited. I really want to see. So like on the way down, I'll show you Brigamia, which is a critically endangered species here on the island. It's Brigamia rockii. It's a lobelioid, and also shows some scenic views of the trail and everything. But yeah, so like a lot of these plants are called Christmas berry. They have these little red berries, but behind it are some, oh, like right here. This is a guava plant. You can tell by the leaves. They have pinnate leaf venation, but I'm not seeing any guavas in it. So maybe we'll see some guavas that are ripe. And usually they're ripe when they're yellow. So I've had them when they've been like a little bit green. That's been fine. But it tastes a lot better when they're yellow. So here's some pasture land. You can see the clouds over there. They're just coming in. It's a very wet area because we're in the North Shore, and I'm going to be hiking down a sea cliff. So the ocean's very warm and there's a lot of moisture, and then when the moisture gets pushed into the sea cliffs by the wind, they go up the side of the cliff and then they condense. So you get a lot of really cool plants up here that are really wet, kind of higher elevation plants. So you get the guavas and you get all these other things, but the native plants are really cool. So Bergamia lives in places where it's kind of moist like this, and the reason why it's critically endangered is because it happens to be like very tasty for goats and other like browsers and grazers and stuff, and slugs really like it. So it's kind of hard for them to grow now since we've had all these introduced pests. The reason why I really like it is because I used to work on a hawk moth in the American Southwest in the Chihuahuan Desert, and it's a sister species, or there's a native species of Manduca here. It's Manduca black burni, which is the black burn or the Hawaiian sphinx moth. And that's the pollinator. Oh, here we go. These are guavas, but they're on the ground, so I'm not going to eat them. But anyways, back to the hawk moths. They're the native pollinators here of Bergamia, because Bergamia flowers have these really long corolla tubes that are white and they're fragrant, like a lot of other moth-pollinated flowers. So, so gross. That's mud. So since there's no pollinators, like the native pollinator isn't here, there probably are other hawk moths that are doing the pollination, but it's just really hard for the seedlings to get recruited when you have like all these feral goats and deer and whatever else. So it's usually a big problem. So we just got to the trailhead and it looks very muddy just because they've had these morning rains, but that's where I'm heading down to. So we're on the sea cliff right now, and that's where I'm heading down to, the Kalaupapa Peninsula. You'll probably get a better look from it over here, and you can see that there's rain actually coming in. That big white spot is actually rain that's coming through, and there's a little rainbow over there. Yeah, this place is pretty cool. But here's a settlement. You can see a better picture of it. And that's where I'm going to be living for the next 3 weeks. Yeah, it's going to be really fun. Oh, and I can show you guys the caldera very well from up here, compared to when I'm actually down there in the settlement. So, yeah, right there. There's a dark spot right in the middle of the camera, and that is the caldera from probably some type of volcanic event. It's a crater. So yeah, it's very unique because we have these sea cliffs and then you have this like volcano that did something at some point in time and created the peninsula, and you have these nice white sandy beaches, and it's just really fun. Kalaupapa is a really magical place, I think. Especially the last time I was here, it was really fun. But, alright, I will be checking in when we get to the Bergamia so you can see what it looks like. It's very unique. So, till then. This is just to give you a little feel of what the trail is like. For the first couple of switchbacks, it's kind of nice because like the whole trail is basically just steps, and then the steps kind of go away. But it's really cool because the beginning's really pretty because it's basically the trail's been cut out in the cliff, and then you get to see like all these like really cool mosses and lichens and water dripping off the cliff. So yeah, there's little plants and lichens, and it's great. Nature, it's very fun. But yeah, pack is a little heavy, mostly just because of the food. But yeah, oh cool. So here's a decent place for us to like look out and see, like you can, like we're on a cliff, so you can definitely tell that like, oh, there's the ocean, and there's the settlement, and we're like substantially closer to it than we were before. And you can still see all the rain. Sorry, my camera's having a hard time with the rain, I guess. So, and then over there is more of the cliff face that we're coming down. And Molokai has the highest sea cliffs in the world, or the Pacific. Some of that. So sometimes you'll see Eva birds or frigate birds soaring on some of the thermals that are generated by the sun and the ocean and all of that, and the wind just pushing the air up the mountainside. So it's kind of cool. Frigate birds are crazy. The first time I ever saw one was in Halava, because me and a friend were hiking up one of the sea cliffs there, and we looked above us, and right there was this like crazy thing with like black wings, and it kind of looked like, oh, I don't even know what they're called, but they're like those military planes that have like those sickle-shaped wings. They're really weird. And my friend thought it was an albatross, and then we were looking at it, and it was like, no, it's a frigate bird because it has a really long tail, those sickle-shaped wings, and everything. So it'd be really awesome to see an Eva bird here. Yeah. But the way the land forms here is just so weird, because you have these cliffs, you have that volcanic stuff, then you have all the corals, that you get these white sandy beaches. Oh, this is pretty too. So you can see they don't want people falling over the cliff, or the mules falling over the cliff, and then the sides are just coated in ferns. But it's a fun time. So I should probably get back to the trail so I don't die. Okay. So we just made it to the Bergamia. Here it is. It's behind a fence. Because like I mentioned earlier, Bergamia is really tasty because it doesn't have all the like nasty alkaloids that a lot of other plants on the mainland have. And you can see from the side, it basically is a cabbage on a stick. So that's how they're like, I don't know, they're referred to as the cabbage on a stick. And they're really, really cool. They produce like a lot of like, long tubular flowers with white star-shaped petals. So it's like a corolla tube with the petals that come out in kind of a star shape. This one's not flowering right now, but I guess there are other plants that on the island that do flower, and they occasionally get seed from them. But yeah, it's a really cool plant, critically endangered. There's another species of Bergamia. This is Bergamia rockii, and the other species of Bergamia is I forget what it's called, but rockii is only found in I think Molokai and Maui, and then the other species of Bergamia is only found on Kauai. So they're both endemic to the Hawaiian Islands, and they are also really cool plants because these guys are in the Campanulaceae, the bellflower family. So things at home that may be similar are like harebells and stuff like that. But yeah, so I'm gonna get back to the trail, but I just wanted to show you guys this plant. It's just starting to rain a little bit, but yeah, really cool plant. Hopefully, I'll try to see if I can find other plants that aren't surrounded by a cage. So Alright. Okay, so I'm here. Just walk down a little bit further. But right in front of me is a rainbow. And I'm hoping you guys can see it. Like, rainbows are pretty common here. I've seen a few since I've been hiking already. So I saw the one up the top of the trailhead, I saw another one further out, and then I just saw this one. So rainbows happen all the time. It's pretty cool. So you can see overhead these clouds that are moving very rapidly. It's because of the air that's hitting the mountain and pushing up the moisture, and it condenses. And there's already moisture up there that's already condensed, so now it's just moving the clouds out. But yeah, it's really, really fascinating. You can see it. It's amazing how the clouds move here. It's similar to like when I lived in Montana, but some of them move really fast, some of them not so much, and some of them just raise up into these huge like pillars. And it's Hawaii's a very magical place. Just wanted to take some time and point that out. Hey everybody, so I just made it from up there. There you go, now you can see. And I am on the beach. And over there is Kalaupapa Peninsula. So I am exhausted. This is what I've been hiking through the entire way down here. It's a workout, but I ended up meeting these wonderful people. They're actually over there on the beach. I don't know if you can really see them, but their names are Jean and Jane, and they're both twins from California. Jean, I think, lives here, and Jane is just visiting. Jean is 3 minutes older than Jane, so that's kind of fun. But yeah, so on the way down, and when I actually first caught up with them, we looked out to the out into the ocean, and we ended up seeing a whale breach, and then it came up and did a little tail slap. So it's kind of fun. It's fun. There are more rainbows, but now it's like really humid and sticky and itchy all over. I just want to get this pack off. I'm gonna go get set up and have a look around a little bit in town. But, well, I don't even know if you can even call it a town, inside the settlement. And, yep, just on the way now, just booking it, because Jean and Jane were not invited to the peninsula. Let's get this better. They were not invited to the peninsula, so they can't, like, go with me any further, because then you risk getting a fine. That's pretty hefty, like a pretty hefty fine. Because in order to come to Kalaupapa, you have to be invited, or you need to have some sort of sponsorship. And luckily for me, I know people that were willing to sponsor me and get me down here so I can do some interesting work. So I'm gonna finish this hike out, and I'll be back. I'll be resting.